Hello Chicken Coop Army, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the decorations and everything included in the gingerbread house kit. Now if y'all wonder what I'm talking about the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation Cookie Kit. It's pretty much a mega-sized house of a standard gingerbread house. It's got 10 easy steps on how to put it together, and it comes with a lot of amazing goodies. So, without further ado, let's get into the ingredients. So for our ingredients, we have some gingerbread candy decorating stuff. So inside we got some candy corn, gummies, and even some stuff that, it doesn't really come with. So we got stuff like fruit trail mix, magic trail mix, peanut butter parfait mix, and chocolate caramel nut mix. I'm sorry the bag's a little opened. We had to use them to make our gingerbread house pieces. We also got this candy corn stuff, which I think is pretty cool. It brings in the Christmas spirit. So for our hard candies, we have a few different varieties. Our first one being the bell. They come in different colors, so you can pick which one you want. Then they have the snowman, which I think is a pretty cute one. As well as that, they also have Santa Claus. And yes, I know Santa Claus is red, but they also have green ones as well. Kind of like the Grinch. And I got one more in here. And that is the Christmas tree, which I think is the best one out of them all. So that does it for the hard candies. We also got some big rings, which are quite massive. Like, look at that. It also comes in different colors too, just like with these candies. These are like more of a minty flavor. And these more like a candy cane. But overall, the candies are pretty good. Then over here, we have some yellow frosting, which we use quite a bit of it to decorate our treehouse pieces. And I have to say it works pretty well. And then we also went to the store and bought some actual frostings, so in case we were to run out, we would have extras. So we got the rich and creamy vanilla and the rich and creamy milk chocolate. And then you have the packs that the kit came with, which this is more of like a grayish black, whereas this one's more of a yellow. I don't know why there was two yellows, but I guess there's different uses for both of them. It also came with some powdered sugar, so in case you want to decorate the icing and like make it look like snow, and also gives it a more of a sweet flavor. It does also come with a regular vanilla packet, but we used all of that up. Which I'm glad we bought this, because if we didn't, we would have ran out. So that pretty much goes for all the ingredients. Now it is time for our decorated pieces. So, for our decorated pieces, we have them all laid out right here. Now, sorry to say, we're not going to be building the gingerbread house itself, as each piece was created by a different person. Some pieces were created by me, some pieces were created by Chase, and others were created by Sadie. So all three of us worked on our own separate pieces of the house, in our custom design. The reason why it won't work as a gingerbread house on its own is because, with all the heavy pieces, like on this one, for example, it would just make it a lot harder to build up. As much as I would like to build the gingerbread house using all the pieces, it just won't work out, and the house might collapse on itself. So with that being said, we're going to be ranking each of the pieces that we created, and we'll see which one gets the highest score. I want y'all to play along at home as well, and let me know down in the comments which one you think is your favorite, and which one is the best, obviously. So without further ado, let's go ahead and begin the tier list. So unlike with actual online tier lists, we're going to do it a little differently. Instead, we're going to be doing it based on personal experience. So I think we should start with mine, as it's one of the more unique ones. I know there's a lot of unique ones on the table here, but I think this is one of the more special. So starting off, we have the vanilla icing at the bottom with some of the sugar crystals. We got some windows boarded up in peanuts, as well as that we have a couple of these gummy candies. There's even a one up top here, which is the peppermint one, which I think gives it a very nice touch. We got some raisins on either side, just to make it more unique. And then we got some candy corns to top it off. So I want y'all to let me know in the comments what you think about that piece. Speaking of which, we have pretty much the exact same one over here. I had two pieces, so I decided to go for an equal look. So with that being said, it's going to only count as one. So neither of the one's going to look better than the other. So moving on, we have the back of the house, which we have a few windows up top in the gold, silver, and white lining. We got some candy corns here too, as well as some golden windows at the bottom, which I think gives it a special touch. Even with the gummy Christmas trees, which I did decorate in the yellow icing to give it more like a Christmassy look. I got some M&Ms down here, all stacked in a line, with a hazelnut up top. I think it looks pretty good. Now, when I go to rank these, I think that probably this will go into the A tier category. Because even though it is good, there are some negatives I can see. This, however, I don't know. Because the M&Ms are not really kind of lined up properly. So if I were to give these, I'd probably put them in the B tier. So moving on, we have the front of the house, where we have golden windows, candy lights atop, and a cute little door, which is near the bottom. I also decided to cut up the candy corns on the side like this, because if I would have put the whole piece on, it wouldn't have fit 3. I had to get creative with it. And then you can't forget about the bell. Speaking of which, if you have not turned on notifications, I would recommend doing so. Just like with the bell. Then we got an M&M up top, and pretty much the same window look as the ones over here. Now, if I were to give this one a rating, I'd probably give it an A tier. It does look better, but there are still mistakes still. Just like with these down here. Overall, I think these 4 are pretty good in their ranking spots. Let's go ahead and move on to Chase and Sadie's, which I actually forgot who's whose. I know for the roofs here there are Sadie's, and I think that one's Chase, if not mistaken. But we'll just rank them as we go. Okay, so it looks like this piece here has some pretty good creativity. I do like the fact that they covered the whole cookie in a frosting. I think that's a very special design. What I also like is how they added an extra gummy on the top to make a resemblance of a Christmas tree. I think that's pretty unique also. They even added some banana here, I guess to give it a little bit more texture and flavor. And they got some Christmas trees, snowmen, even some pieces of nerds. Got the sugar crystals and the LED light candies. This is like the unique piece because it's got like L shapes. If you see on the box, it has that piece specifically for that area of the house. You see, this is what the kit comes with. That's one of them right there. It's very fascinating how this house comes with this much material. And also, it's fascinating how it's 31.6 ounces in total. That's bigger than any normal gingerbread house. If I were to give this piece a rating, I would put it in the S tier. Like, look at that. Whoever did this piece did a phenomenal job. They even added some yellow icing up top to give it an extra bit of detail. If I'm not mistaken, this would probably be Sadie's work, as she is more of an artist. So I think that is a pretty good art piece. Okay, I think Chase did this one, as it's like the tinier piece. It looks like he put a bunch of raisins and sugar crystals up top. You know, it kind of looks like a fire pit on a block of stone or whatever. But I think it looks pretty cool. Either that or it's a pile of coal. Don't know which. It is very simple, I would give it that. Like, there's not a lot of creativity here. But it's not all about the creativity. It's about how it looks, how it's presented. And in my opinion, he did a pretty good job, because it kind of resembles a flower. So if I were to give this a tier list ranking, I would give it an S tier as well. So before we move on to the next Gingerbread House piece, I would like to give a special shout out to SusieLovesBoba and ChaseCheck777. If you would like to check out their channels, I will leave a couple clips here. They do make some very interesting content, so I would recommend checking them out. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into our next piece. Alright, so moving on, I think this is Chase's piece as well. It is kind of messy, I will give it that, but he did do a good job in the floor design. He might have actually done this one too, I'm not really sure. If so, he did a pretty good job. You got a candy corn, you even got our little Reese's cup here. You got some peanuts on the side, as well as with some nerds. I would rank this high, but I won't rank it like too high. You know what I mean? Because there are some mistakes and flaws that I can see. So if I were to give this a tier list ranking, I would give it an A. Alright, so moving on, we have another piece of Chase's, which this one is very tiny. I have no idea what he was trying to go for here. Like, I see the Christmas tree resemblance, but like, what is this? This doesn't really give out Christmassy vibes or gives out the creative aspect. It just looks like he just put a bunch of things together and called it a day. So, with that being said, I would probably put that in the D tier. Like, it is a very good edible, but it's just not good in a creative way. Okay, we're going to move on to this piece right here, which I don't even know what's going on. He kind of made a stone-like figurine with a random candy corn in the middle. I don't know what he tried to make here, but it's questionable. So with that being said, I'd probably give this a C tier. So far, Chase is doing okay with his pieces. I think he could improve on some of them. But other than that, I think they're coming out amazing. Alright, so we have taken care of all those pieces. Let's go ahead and move on to the pieces in the back here. So for this one, it's definitely got a lot of nerds and a lot of sugar crystals and probably a lot of frosting. See, pieces are already coming off just like that, which is already giving me an F rating tier. But it does look good in a way, you know, it kind of resembles a house. And I do like the colors that he used, and like kind of a random pattern. But I don't think it's going to like get the top of the list, as it like has some minor flaws. So if I were to give this a ranking, I would probably give it a B. Okay, so moving on. We have this monstrosity. Looks like we got one of those gummy candies in the front, and it's got an M&M. It also looks like we got some strawberry yogurt pieces, as well as some peanut butter Reese's, which I think gives a very nice touch. You know, it kind of resembles like an igloo, or either that or a turtle. I do like how the lights go across the top. I think that is a very special detail. And I do like the little Reese's piece right here. So if I were to give this a tier list ranking, I would give it an A. A great job on creativity. It's got lots of detail and it weighs quite a bit. Now, it is not like perfection for an S, because I think it's overloaded in the toppings. Like, maybe if he would have bumped it down a notch, I think it would have looked better. But with like all these pieces like around here, it's kind of overdoing it. Some of these pieces are heavy, some are not. It just depends on like how much work goes in all of them. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to our second to last piece, which is this one right here. So it looks like this one's got some very nice gummies, as well as some LED Christmas light candies. It's got some M&Ms in the middle, and some of the banana rock candies. I think Sadie's the one that did this one, and I think she did a pretty good job. And with that being said, I would give this an S tier. What I like about this piece is how it can be cut in half and it look the same on both sides. That is one special feature I do like about it. Some of these pieces can be done that way, but others can't. So like the pieces right here, they can. But for something like this, they can't. Because you got that odd shape and you got some odd designs. But overall, I think it looks pretty good. It just can't be cut this way because, that wouldn't be symmetrical. But it's not about the symmetry. It's all about the design and creativity that is involved in the piece itself. And that's why I give this an S ranking. Moving on to our final piece. We got this monstrosity. So we got some gumdrops to go along the side. We got some peanuts going along the side as well. And some Christmas LED lights to go around the middle. And one thing I do like about this piece is how the chocolate candy is mixed in with the frosting inside of the gummy. Like, that is insane to think about. It's got a pure chocolate one in the middle, and it's got some peanut butter ones on either side of it. Now, just like with the one over here, it can only be cut one way to be symmetrical. Like, you could do it that way. Well, actually, you could do it either way, because if you cut this way, you still get the symmetry. So this piece would actually be better than that one, in my opinion. So with that being said, we'll actually switch this down to an A tier, and this one up to an S tier. So that is pretty much all of the decorated pieces. Let me know down in the comments your ranking of each of the pieces. So if you would like to rate these pieces from your own perspective, this will be piece number 1, this will be piece number 2, this will be piece number 3, this will be piece number 4, that will be piece number 5, that will be piece number 6, this will be piece number 7, this will be piece number 8, this will be piece number 9, this will be piece number 10, this will be piece number 11, and this piece will be number 12. So out of these 12 pieces, I want y'all to rank them from your perspective. So before we end today's video, I'm going to be trying some of the special ingredients. We're going to start off with the candy corn, which is Christmas themed. I have to say, it is pretty good. It's definitely better than a standard candy corn. Another one I like to try is these hard candies. Let's go ahead and eat Mr. Snowman. It's not too hard, but not too soft. It's got a very strange texture too. Pretty good. Now, for these candies here, I've already tried them and already know what they taste like. They're good also, but it's just like a different kind of candy. They look like a type of candy that would be like extra sweet and extra delicious. But they're like the downgrade of that, being minty, like a peppermint. Now these, on the other hand, they're pretty good with like the different ingredients that each one has. The frosting itself is good too. Overall, I think these ingredients are pretty good. I wouldn't say any of them are mediocre or downright bad. If I would probably say it'd probably be the peanuts, but peanuts are good either way. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed today's video. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share, because at 2,000 subscribers, we will reattempt the Death Nut Challenge. I hope y'all have an amazing day and night, and I will be seeing y'all in the next one. Peace out.